gridiron. Second in the AFC North, and one of the more shocking results in Week 8, the Ravens fell short in a divisional game against the Browns 29-24. Lamar Jackson's 289 passing yards and 2 TDs wasn't enough, as Baltimore missed an opportunity to seal the game before Jameis Winston threw the game-winning touchdown for the Browns with 59 seconds left. Winston, who passed for 334 yards and 3 TDs, had this to say after a gutsy performance.
There's a white boy from Detroit that I really admire named Eminem. He said, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity lasts once in a lifetime. And I know I got to quote, Eminem, he from Detroit, he right up the road, but man, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that the Lord provided me with this opportunity. I'm grateful for my teammates, my coaches, and these amazing fans.
Happy for Jameis. Shannon, is this Baltimore loss something or nothing?
I think it's nothing, but I was very, very surprised that Derrick Henry only got 11 carries. I was very, very surprised that they threw the football, 17 times more than they ran the football, knowing that Derrick Henry had been on a tear that we hadn't seen in a very long time from a running back, and to take the football out of his hands. Why? Because here's the thing. You know your defense is not very good in pass coverage. Okay, you're down your 2 top corners. So why would you not run the football to limit their ability to get on the field? The last thing that you want to do if you have a weak defense is put them on the field, because if they can't stop somebody when they're fresh, what happens when they get tired? They wear down even more. It looks even worse. So I was very surprised with the game plan, given how well Derrick Henry had run the football in the last 4 weeks during this 5-game winning streak. Look, Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. He's an MVP. But I think if you're looking at your defense and we're struggling, what are they, like near the bottom, almost next to last, or maybe even dead last in pass defense, and you're going to put them back out there on the field? The last thing I want to do if I'm struggling on the defensive side of the football is have them out on the field any more than I absolutely have to. And that's what happened yesterday. I think it's nothing. I think there's something they can overcome, but they need to get back to understand if they're going to win a championship, Derrick Henry is going to be a big, big reason why. Lamar Jackson is going to have to play well, but Derrick Henry is the one that's going to end the game for you, because this is happening again. They're starting to lose games in which they're winning.
Yeah, Shay, I disagree with you on this one. I think it is something. And when you talk about, and you already referenced it, talk about the Baltimore Ravens defense, you're talking about a defense that has allowed 17 touchdowns, passing touchdowns. That's worse than the National Football League. Not only that, 10 of those touchdowns have come in the fourth quarter. Okay, that's worse than the National Football League. No other club has more than 6 in the fourth quarter. And so we've seen it now. We've seen a trend time and time again when you talk about this Ravens defense, how teams are able to burn that secondary. So all the goodwill, all the highlights, all the plays, the brilliance that we've seen from Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, their defense is the Achilles heel that could do this team in, because we know they're able to run the ball. We know Lamar Jackson is playing like an MVP again. Derrick Henry is an MVP. But now we've seen time and time again on the defensive side of the football, they can't rush the quarterback and they can't stop explosive plays on the back end. And so if you want to be a team that's being taken seriously and want to win a championship, that has to be something that has to be rectified, and rectified fast, because we've seen this defense, not just this year, even going back to last year, where they've given up fourth quarter leads on this team. So it's definitely something that needs to be talked about as it relates to the Baltimore Ravens.
Couple of things. First of all, major props to Jameis Winston. It was nice to see him in the lineup flinging that football due for 334 yards, 224 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the second half. Major, major props to him. Clearly, he ain't Deshaun Watson. No disrespect, but it's just the truth based on what we've seen from Deshaun Watson since he's arrived in Cleveland. Remember, they had over 300 yards last night, yesterday, in terms of total offense, over 400 yards of offense. They came in averaging 254, had 401 yards of offense yesterday. That's something that never happened under Deshaun Watson, obviously. So we got to give credit where credit is due. But Shannon, I'm going to agree with Damien Woody here. There is no question that this is something. This is a problem. This is a problem. When we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, this is the 8th time since 2022 that they've given up a lead after they've been leading with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. This is the 8th time they've done it. That hasn't happened to any other NFL team. And so when we think about the Baltimore Ravens, their mystique, their history, what they stand on, it's been about their defense. That's who they are. And for some reason, we don't get that this year. Now, Marlon Humphreys and Nate Wiggins was out. You're absolutely right. And that compromised their secondary. But they weren't out, to use your example, to use an example like you would use, Shay. They weren't out when they lost to the Raiders. This is a team that seems to play down to the competition and get themselves exposed. They converted they failed to convert 8 of 10 third downs yesterday. That's an offensive issue. But we all know the biggest problem with this team is their defense. They can't seem to stop anybody when you really, really need them to stop somebody. And that's problematic. And, they weren't pressuring the quarterback. They couldn't get to Jameis Winston unless they blitzed him. So we got to take that into account, too, as well. Where's the pass rush? Okay, your secondary. We know that you were depleted yesterday. That wasn't the case when you lost to the Raiders in Game 2 of the NFL season. We've seen what's transpired on occasion last year as well. I'm just seeing a dissipation take place when it comes to the quality of the Baltimore Ravens defense, what we've come to expect, what we believe in, and compared that to what we've seen this year. They ain't the same team defensively. And if they're going to win a Super Bowl championship, if they're going to get to the Super Bowl against the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills, I might add, if you're going to get there, your defense is going to have to look a hell of a lot better than we saw them look yesterday.
Woody, you know this, Stephen A. The best way to help a defense is to keep their ass on the sideline. And that's why you got Derrick Henry. Run the football. You know your defense. It's kind of like what we're asking the Cowboys. Cowboys, you know your defense is suspect, but they can't run the football because they don't have the running backs to run the football. Baltimore has no excuse. You throw the ball when you know your defense is the weak link of your team. You know that. And you throw the ball 17 more times than you run it, and you give Derrick Henry only 11 carries?